Hari Hari Bol. Welcome to all fragrance lovers on YouTube. Thank you for joining today. I have a very special motive or agenda for today's video, and that is to discuss my own personal reasons for why I burn incense. Now, this is not a list of reasons why I don't burn incense. This is not a list of all the reasons why other people might burn incense. This is my own personal list. And so others are free to do as they please. And I understand that many people burn incense for other kinds of rituals. If you like being a bruja, if you are into witchcraft and spells, divination and tarot, fortune telling and all the rest, well then more power to you. Those are not my reasons for burning incense, but I give you my respect. To begin, I would like to start with a very beautiful verse from Bhagavad Gita. And actually this verse is so special that it is also found in another Hindu scripture, the Bhagavad Purana, also known as Srimad Bhagavatam. And the verse goes, Patram pushpam phalam tvayam yome bhaktya prayachyati tadaham bhaktyu-paritam ashnami prayatatmanaha. And the Sanskrit verse means that if one offers to me, and of course the speaker of Bhagavad Gita, the capital me, is referring to Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna says, if one offers to me with devotion a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or even water, I delightfully partake of that article offered with love by my devotee in pure consciousness. So my reasons begin early. Back in childhood, I have a distinct memory of the first time my father burned incense in our home. My father is an artist, and I just remember him introducing the ritual to me, the way you light the stick on fire, and the way you let it burn for a few moments before blowing it out, and the way the sweet plumes of fragrant smoke would begin to billow off of the agarbatti stick. One of the main considerations at that time, besides the pleasant smoke for our own nostrils, was to not bother my mother. I remember my father urging me to put the incense out rather quickly because he was preoccupied with the thought of her returning home from work and being overwhelmed by fragrance. He didn't want to bother her. And so initially then my understanding of incense and fragrance in the home was to strike a balance between using enough to please our own senses, to please our own nostrils, and also consideration for others. We wouldn't want to upset anyone or bother anyone with incense. Now, having an artist for a father, I also have noticed that I am a very creative person, and so incense is often helpful for me when I'm writing poetry or doing any kind of creative writing or trying to make art. I'm not much of a painter, but every once in a while I'll do some drawing or calligraphy perhaps, and also music. Certainly listening to music, and also lately I've become somewhat of a DJ, and I love to produce music and mix music as well, and incense complements that very nicely. Now, in my adolescence, I found myself to be a fragrance lover, and particularly my interest in chemistry blossomed at that time. In college, I studied the chemistry of natural products and found that I was very interested also in perfumery, the formation of different scents, beginning with the base notes, moving into heart notes, and rather the top notes would come first, followed by the heart notes and then the base notes of a perfume or of a cologne. From chemistry, my interests in academia moved into medicine, and I am now a medical doctor, very interested in healing. Now, even after looking into aromatherapy, I do not pretend to be an expert, and I would not go so far as to say that I know how to heal with incense, but it is certainly an interest of mine. And last but not least, I have a very strong interest also in Indian culture. I have never visited India, at least not yet, but even from my youth, I had always a curiosity about me towards Indian spirituality, Eastern spirituality, learning about Lord Buddha, and more lately, having met Krishna devotees, I have a strong interest in Hinduism and Vaishnavism. Of course, incense complements meditation and all types of yoga very well. Now, as far as Hatha Yoga with its various asanas, the postures, and also breath work, pranayam is the breath work of yoga. There are many other branches of yoga as well, and incense goes along with these very, very nicely. Now, in particular, my strongest interest at this time is Bhakti Yoga. And this is the branch of yoga focused on attaining love of God, or Krishna-Prema, through devotional service. So of course we can understand that the primary objective of life then is not to satisfy our own senses, but rather to serve our God, to please the Lord's senses, because the principal goal of life is to cultivate our love of God. There are 9 limbs of bhakti. Shravanam is hearing, Kirtanam is chanting, Smaranam is remembering, Padasevanam is service to the lotus feet of the Lord, Archanam is worship of the deity, Vandanam is praying, Dasyam, focusing on our relationship with the Lord as a servant. And that contrasts with Sakyatvam, our relationship with the Lord as a friend. And lastly, Atma Nivedanam, complete self-surrender to the divine. Now, if this seems rather advanced, I agree with you, it is. How is one to follow all 9 limbs of bhakti? And in fact, there are more ways. There are more limbs even than this, but these are just the basics. But it's really not quite so advanced as that if we bring it back to the simplicity, the very basics of Bhakti Yoga. How do we develop love for God? So I'll take it back to that same Bhagavad Gita verse as before. If one offers to me with devotion a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or even water, I delightfully partake of that article offered to me with love by my devotee in pure consciousness. And so then, even if we don't know exactly what all the ritual steps should be, even if we don't have all of the complete Vedic knowledge, we can be comforted in knowing that God accepts anything that is offered with a loving heart, including incense. He is not concerned with the material value of our offering, but rather, He values above all else the love with which we make that offering. And so, today I invite you, my friends, my fellow aspiring devotees of the Lord, to light some incense for His pleasure. Offer Him the fragrant smoke. Know that everything that we smell, He smells more clearly, with truth. Dandavat pranams, Hari Bol. I give you my thanks.